Cambodia in lockdown. After initially having not really been affected too much by the coronavirus, Cambodia has succumbed to the virus and a lockdown has been implemented. In this video, we give you some information about the lockdown in different parts of Cambodia. If this is your first time on the channel or you have returned and like the content, then can I ask you to please like, share and subscribe. It really does help me and the channel to grow. Oh yeah, and don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss out on upcoming videos. And if you are looking at ways to potentially meet a gorgeous woman from Southeast Asia, or you are interested in some cool links, then check them out in the links below in the description box. For those living in Cambodia, it must have felt like living in a bubble while the rest of the world has been dealing with COVID-19. But with a recent surge in community cases, is that bubble about to burst? The recent initial cases occurred in an area of Phnom Penh when apparently Chinese residents allegedly bribed some security guards to escape from quarantine. The initial outbreak occurred on the 20th of February and in that time has put the country on its highest alert since the pandemic began. It's believed after the initial outbreak there were around 30 confirmed cases from multiple nationalities. Tracing tactics were immediately put into place to minimise the damage. Now 30 people might not sound like a lot to those in the West, but for Cambodia, which for so long has had one of the lowest infection rates, this is very concerning. When you combine this 30 with the multitude of people who may have interacted with other people, you can see the potential problems. There were initially 47 locations in Phnom Penh linked to this cluster, an amount that has not only since increased, but now includes other cities. A number of tuk-tuk drivers were asked to be tested for the virus, all of whom are believed to be connected to the February 20th group, and more worryingly, every customer they served thereafter. Sihanoukville is a city on the southern coast which is dominated by Chinese businesses. It is said that 2 Chinese guests at hotels in the city, which are both linked to the February 20th cluster, have tested positive for COVID-19. This has resulted in 4 hotels in the area being closed, as well as more stringent safety measures being put in place in other areas of the city. At the moment there is no lockdown in Sihanoukville, but as authorities track and trace, it is obviously something that may well change at short notice. Phnom Penh Governor has placed parts of 3 districts into a 2-week lockdown as COVID-19 cases in the areas have soared to an alarming level. The lockdown is expected to last through until April the 23rd. The decision came after 631 workers from a large business which has over 2,600 workers tested positive to COVID-19. Just hours after, the Ministry of Health reported 576 new cases linked to the February 20 community outbreak. The country also had its 25th COVID-19 fatality. The lockdown has been enforced for whole communities of where most of the COVID-19 positive workers are concentrated. Only one person from each family in the areas can go out to buy food, medicines and other necessities under the monitoring of the authorities. The total number of infections in the kingdom has risen to 4,081. Of the new cases, 454 were found in the capital Phnom Penh, 6 in Praia Sihanouk province, 4 each in Kandal, Svay Rieng and Takeo provinces, 3 in Prey Veng province and 1 each in Siem Reap and Kampong Tom provinces. Cambodia has also recorded 2 new deaths, bringing the number of fatalities in the country to 26. In a speech broadcast live on the national television, Prime Minister Hun Sen said most of the new outbreaks were detected in Phnom Penh among people involved in 2 clusters, at the popular Orosei market and at a garment factory called Din Han Enterprise. He said that during the first year of the pandemic in 2020, Cambodia registered just over 500 COVID-19 cases. But since then, the number of infected cases had jumped to more than 4,000. This has the potential to be a very bad situation for Cambodia. The transmission of COVID-19 has not slowed down, instead it has accelerated even though strict responsive measures have been in place. COVID-designated hospitals in Phnom Penh were overwhelmed with patients after a sharp rise in new cases. Hospitals are overcrowded with COVID-19 patients. In only 2 days, more than 1,000 people were infected, and this number exceeds the capacity of hospitals. The Prime Minister said the government has been turning some buildings into makeshift COVID-19 hospitals and has allowed patients with mild symptoms to receive treatment in isolation at home. For home treatment, the patients must have a separate bedroom and bathroom in order to avoid spreading the virus to other family members. He also stated that local medical practitioners will closely monitor the health status of those isolating at home and provide medications based on symptoms. Hun Sen has also called on the courts across the kingdom to prosecute those who flouted quarantine rules and to deal with them severely. Under the country's law, quarantine violators will face a maximum fine of $1,250 US, but if their violation leads to the spread of the virus to others, they will be punishable by 6 months to 3 years in prison with a fine of $2,500 US. So, what is the immediate future of Cambodia? In a country that relies so much on tourism, this is another massive setback to everyone who thought it would be business as usual sooner rather than later. I am starting to think that no country will ever return to normal until a worldwide vaccination program is implemented. Until then, I fear that lockdowns will be a recurring scenario which devastates everyone involved.